Sight adjustment on the mosin nagant. Okay, let's go over the sights. First of all, once you get the gun to the point where it's clean, you're trying to shoot it, sight it in, you run into problems. So your sights are off, who knows why, where, or whatever. It's an old surplus gun. You want it to shoot to the way you want it, to where you can hit something. Start with the rear sight. The rear sight basically is just this slider, this one sticks to, that goes up in elevation with the numbers. Now supposedly, with this thing, I don't know, this thing run all the way down to 1 is supposed to be at 100 meters, 100 yards. So when you line the front sight post up with this set here, you should be hitting pretty much well on. That's all the rear sight does, is elevation. Shoot farther out, you slide it up, raises this up, and gets you out there. Most and almost all of your adjustments will be with the front sight on this gun. And we're going to stick with the M9130. I believe the 38s and 44s also are like this. So it's basically your front sight post, which is just a post which is pressed up into the globe hood, and it's on a dovetail which you can drift for windage. I'm going to set the camera up and I'll show you how you can drift it for windage. Here's a close-up view of the front sight. You can see the dovetail and where the little witness mark is, or chisel mark. Supposedly line it up on center, helps you get close. Now there's two ways you can drift it. You can use the basic method with a hammer and a punch. And just whatever way you want to go, you would just tap it one way or the other. Okay, if you're shooting to the right, you want to drift the front sight over to the right. Shooting to the left, you want to drift it to the left. And you just experiment with it, tap it around if you want until you get it right. You can buy a sight tool, which I like the sight tool. There's a couple different models made out of aluminum, steel. You can put that on there. I like using the screws and an Allen wrench. Gives me a little bit more control, a little bit more precision than tapping it with a punch and a hammer. But, you know, if you don't want to spend the cash, if you got a hammer and a punch or something, tap it over. Now, that's basically your windage adjustment, and it works fine, gets you left to right. Say you're shooting high, or as in this case, this gun shoots low when it's set on 1 at 100 yards, shoots way low 50 yards. If you're shooting high, your front sight post has to be taller. That means it's too short. About the only thing you can do is there is a guy who makes replacements for them little posts. You drift that off, tap it out, and he makes the little pin to the exact size, but what he does, he makes them long. And you can replace that, drift it back over, and then you would have to take a small file and file that down until you get to where you want with that sight. Say at 100, set it dead on at 100, okay? The only problem with that is, well, the pros of it is, it's an exact replacement. It don't modify the gun whatsoever. The only thing is it costs anywhere from $14 to $16 for that pin. You will have to file it down and adjust it that way, adjust your elevation that way, and you got to choose where you want that rear sight to be when you shoot. It should be at 100 yards. The only downside to it is if you change ammo, reload ammo, or use a different ammo, you'll find your point of impact changes, and it's not adjustable. It's fixed set sights like the original. Another choice is to go with Smith sights, which he makes adjustable sights. You could either buy the whole globe, and they have a little set screw in the back there. This one threads up and down, or you can get them that slide up and down and the set screw holds it in place, and you have an adjustable sight. It drifts. There's a good look at the dovetail. It drifts on a dovetail like the original, and it's adjustable. Something like this I'd like. It's not easy to make. To get the sight like this, to order just the whole assembly, more or less removing your old one to save it, to keep your rifle in original military condition, it's about $40 to $45. For like $15, he will modify your sight. You remove your sight, send it, have him modify it. You have several choices and options, and you can have an adjustable sight, which I might do. It's expensive, but then you got adjustability. If you only had the one gun, you can adjust it any way you want. If you're not worried about the collector value, that might be the way to go, but then again, it is the most expensive way. Of course, 15 bucks for a sight pin. It's identical to that one. It's like a replacement. You file it. The only problem is if you change ammo or point of impact changes for some reason, you're stuck. People do put like shrink tubing over the pin, or I don't know, anything. They stick something on there, glue something on there. If you want to do it, fine. You know, it's up to you. But again, all right, say you get it somewhere close. How adjustable is it? Whatever. So you have some choices, and I'm going to kind of look at it in depth. I got the adjustable sight, and I may get one of those pins and try that out too. So I'm going to try different options as I go and give you my ideas on it. But this is just a general idea, sight adjustment, and what I know is available. There might be something else out there, some other technique or something simpler you'd like to go with, but this is what I'm going to work with on this project here.